important to know what is important to you when you're camping. Again, if you want to have some privacy, if it's really important for you to be in nature and to, feel the trees around you, then you probably are going to want to camp in a public campground. If you really want to have that glamping experience and you want to make sure that you can run your air conditioner and your refrigerator is cold all the time, then a private campground that has those full hookups, is a really good choice. One of the things that's great is there are a lot of campgrounds now, both private and public, that show pictures of their sites, and you can actually go on and see every single site and what that site is going to look like, and you can get a good idea. Is that site level? Is it paved? Is it gravel? How close are you to your neighbors? So I highly recommend going onto the websites of the campgrounds, and again, this is true of both public campgrounds like the national parks or the state parks, or a private campground, and actually looking at those photos to see what you're getting so you have an idea. Also look at the campground map. Almost every campground, private or public, has a copy of their map on their website so that you can look and see exactly where you're going to be and get a good feel for how close are you to the highway, or how close are you to the bathhouse, or how close are you to other sites. So it's really good to look at all of those things in advance. Along with each site description, they'll tell you how long the site is, and they'll tell you what type of rig it's good for. So a lot of the search tools, you can put in the size of your rig and it will only bring back campsites that are big enough for your rig to fit in. But if that doesn't happen, you need to know the length of your rig and how big your campsite is to make sure that you can actually fit in that site when you get there. Each campground has their own rules about how far in advance you need to book. We found that camping on public lands is what we prefer because we like to have a bigger space with more trees and by a lake or something like that. But other people prefer to camp at private campgrounds because you're more likely to have full hookups. For the national parks, it is 6 months in advance. And for state parks, it really varies by state, but it's usually 11 or 12 months in advance. And popular sites go really quickly. So if you want to camp by the water, or you want that really nice big wooded site, or a pull-through site, or that site that has full hookups, you really do need to book that further in advance. So another important thing to note is about pet-friendly sites. Now, we travel with our dog Jazzy, and so it's really important for us to know that a site is pet-friendly, because some campgrounds have certain areas that are pet-friendly, and some campgrounds are entirely pet-friendly, and some campgrounds don't allow pets at all. So it's really important to know what the site regulations are when you're traveling with your pet. And the other thing about traveling with your pet is it's really important that you bring all their paperwork with you. Some campsites do require you to show their rabies vaccines and that they're up to date on all their vaccines. So it's really important to bring that. And the other thing that we do is we try to always look in advance and find out what's the nearest animal hospital to where we're going to be going, so that if we do run into trouble, that we know where we're going ahead of time and don't have to wait till we get there.
It's being out in nature and feeling the green, and it's very restorative.
Yeah, it is.
It's very much back to basics. But I think it's also because we have quality time with each other. And I think quality time is the best.
Yeah.
We're not busy going from one thing to the next. You can rest, you can read, you can chat, you can not chat, that sort of thing.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely being together in nature and just enjoying the outdoors. And, we tend to lead such busy lives. I think this really forces us to stop and do things differently. And, we get to cook out, and we get to take our little inflatable boat out on the lakes and hike a little bit in the trees. And I think it is very restorative. It's a great vacation and a great way to travel. A lot of private campgrounds do now offer cable and Wi-Fi as an amenity when you're at their campground. So again, for people who really need to make sure that they're connected all the time, a private campground might be the right choice for them. But when you're camping in public areas like state parks and national parks, there's not a lot of connectivity. There's not a lot of signal. So you have to be prepared that you might not have signal for a couple of days, or that you might need to go to the office or somewhere else to get connected if you need to get connected.
So sometimes a restorative weekend is putting the hammock up, taking out the fishing rod, parking near a lake, and just casting away and just having something to drink, a little iced tea, and just relaxing. And sometimes it's about exploring the area, getting on the bikes and riding down the paths and trekking up to the waterfalls.
I look at RVing as restorative and relaxing, but also as exploring. And I love being able to kind of take our house on the road when we're exploring. And so I'm always excited about the next trip and where we're going to go next and what we're going to see next and that next experience. So I certainly love getting there, and there's places that I've loved. 7 Points on Raystown Lake in Pennsylvania is one of my favorite places to camp. It's a Civilian Conservation Corps campground. And it's absolutely beautiful, beautiful sights, and you can park your rig right on the water and take your boat out right from your campsite. It's a fantastic place to camp. I'm always excited about our next trip and where we're going next.